Test. Someone tells you that's interesting about your idea, about an idea that you have. Is that a yes, a no, or a polite way of saying neither? If you are not sure, that's exactly what we are breaking down today. Because that phrase, the one that sounds like a compliment, is one of the most misread sentences in the American workplace, And by the end of this video, you will know how to pause, ask better questions, and stop guessing your way through workplace communication. Hi, I am Marian. On this channel, I share lessons from my journey and from my book, Breaking Through the Immigrant's Handbook for Thriving in the American Workplace, to help immigrant professionals navigate the workplace with more clarity, confidence, and strategy. Today, let's talk about 5 workplace phrases that don't always mean what they sound like, and exactly what to do the next time you hear one. Some of us come from cultures where people speak directly. Others come from cultures where you respect authority, stay quiet, and figure things out on your own. Some also come from cultures that speak indirectly. When you enter a workplace, especially in a different culture, we hear a phrase and we take it at face value. Feedback gets softened. Disagreement gets wrapped up in pleasantries. And a phrase that sounds neutral can actually be a signal, one that's telling you to pause, ask a question, and follow up. That's what it means to read the room. Not becoming suspicious, becoming aware. Let's get into the 5 phrases. Number 1 phrase, that's interesting. Sometimes that's interesting really does mean that is interesting, really. But depending on the tone, the timing, and the pause before it, it can mean something entirely different. It can mean I'm not convinced. It can mean I see a problem here. It can mean I don't agree, but I'm not going to say that directly right now. Let's say you spend a weekend building out a proposal. You present it and your director says, that's interesting. You leave feeling good because they didn't say no. 3 weeks later, the project quietly disappears from the roadmap. No one ever tells you it's dead. It just stops being mentioned. That's what that's interesting can mean. Not a no, but also not enough of a yes to move forward on its own. Tone is a tell. That's interesting. Tell me more. With someone leaning in, it's curiosity. But that's interesting. With a pause, that's interesting. With a pause is a signal. It may not be rejection, but it's not agreement either. And that's a trap. We hear the words, but we miss the signal. That's interesting. Okay, let's go to number 2. Number 2, let's circle back. This one is everywhere. Sometimes it simply means we are out of time. Let's pick this up later. But sometimes it means this isn't a priority right now. We are not ready to decide. The right people are not in the room. Other stakeholders need to weigh in first. So don't assume the idea is dead, but don't assume it's moving forward either. It's sitting somewhere in the middle, and the middle needs clarity. You can ask, when are we circling back? Who needs to be involved before then? Because let's circle back without a next step doesn't stay neutral. It quietly becomes silence, and silence creates confusion. Number 3, the number 3 phrase we often hear, I hear you. This one sounds like a win, but hearing isn't agreeing. Understanding isn't approving. I hear you can mean, I understand what you're saying, and I still see it differently. I acknowledge your point, and my decision isn't changing. So watch what comes next, not just the phrase itself. Do they approve it? Are they asking you to move forward? Are they suggesting a change or quietly shifting the conversation to something else? Number 4, you may want to think about You may want to think about this one sounds gentle, almost optional. You may want to think about the timeline. You may want to think about how you're presenting that. But in a lot of workplaces, people soften correction because they don't want to sound harsh. So instead of saying this isn't working, you may want to think about. If you miss that, you may walk away thinking it was a casual suggestion when it was actually feedback you needed. Picture this. You finish a presentation and afterward your manager says, almost in passing, you may want to think about how much detail you are including next time. It sounds like a casual aside, so you nod, say thanks and move on without changing much. The next presentation, the same comment comes back, except this time it's not phrased as a suggestion. That gentle version the whole way, that was the real feedback. The version that came back later was just the same message with the patience taken out. Number 5, can you walk me through that? Sometimes it means I want to understand your thinking. Sometimes it means I'm not following. Your idea isn't clear yet. You gave me too much detail and I need the headline. This isn't always criticism, it's information. And here's where a lot of us as immigrant professionals get caught. We overprepare, we gather every detail to prove we did the work, to prove you're competent. But a lot of workplace conversations don't want the details first. They want the main points, the headline, the recommendation, the decision that needs to be made. Then if they need more, they will ask. So if someone says, can you walk me through that? Don't panic. Don't get defensive. Pause and explain it simpler. So those are the 5 phrases. That's interesting. Number 1. Let's circle back. Number 2. I hear you. Number 3. You may want to think about. Number 4. And number 5. Can you walk me through that? But here's the most important part. The goal is not to memorize these phrases and get nervous every time someone opens their mouth. The goal is knowing what to do when the meaning isn't clear. 3 things. I want to leave you with 3 proposals, 3 things. Number 1, identify the stakeholders. We assume a conversation is only between us and the person talking to us. It rarely is in the workplace. There may be a manager, a senior leader, a client, another department, someone with influence, someone who isn't in the room. So when you hear, let's circle back or let's think about it, don't just sit with a pause. Ask, who else matters here? Who needs to approve this? If your manager says, that's interesting, let's think about it. You might walk away assuming they didn't like your idea, but maybe they're thinking about budgets or leadership approval or how another team will react. Instead of assuming, ask, who else should I consider as I refine this? Is there another stakeholder I should talk to? That question alone shows maturity. It says you are not just pushing your idea. You are reading the room. You are reading the environment. My number 2 proposal is this. Ask clarifying questions. Ask clarifying questions. Many of us hesitate here. We don't want to look like we don't understand. We don't want to seem difficult. Some of us were raised to believe too many questions is disrespectful. But in the workplace, silence costs you. It costs you feedback. It costs you direction. It costs you hours of work pointed the wrong way. So build a small toolkit of simple questions, simple professional questions. Can you say more about that? What would you like me to adjust? Are you suggesting I change direction or just refine this? These are clarifying questions, or these are clarity questions. And clarity is what saves you from guessing. If someone says, you may want to think about how you are presenting this, don't just nod and walk away unclear. Ask, when you say the way I'm presenting it, do you mean the structure, the tone, or the level of detail? Now you have something to actually work with. And my number 3 proposal is have the follow-up conversation. Sometimes you won't catch everything in the moment. The meeting moves fast. You process it later and realize, I'm not actually sure what they meant. That's fine. Follow up. Following up isn't weakness. It is professionalism. A short message works. I want to make sure I understood your feedback correctly. When you mentioned revising or revisiting the proposal, did you mean the timeline, the budget, or the overall direction? Or my understanding is that I should revise the proposal and focus more on team impact. Is that correct? This is how you stop replaying a conversation in your head for 3 days. This is how you stop a week of work in the wrong direction because of one unclear sentence or phrase. Here's a familiar one. You walk out of a meeting where your manager says, let's revisit this after the budget review. You spend the next 2 weeks unsure if that meant the project was paused, cancelled, or just delayed. Instead of guessing, imagine sending one short message. Send one short message that says something like, just confirming, should I hold off on next steps until after the budget review or keep moving in parallel? One sentence. And instead of 2 weeks of uncertainty, you have an answer in an hour. Reading the room isn't about fear. It's about noticing when the words and the tone don't fully match and having the courage to ask for clarity when they don't. You thought they agreed. They were not convinced. You thought the idea was moving. It has stalled. You thought the feedback was optional. It mattered. As immigrant professionals, we are already navigating culture, language, and expectations, how to show confidence without sounding arrogant, how to ask questions without feeling exposed. But here is the truth. Clarity at work is rarely handed to you. Sometimes you have to ask for it. So this week, one phrase from today's list. The next time you hear it, pause before you decide what it means. Ask yourself, who is involved? Who do I need to ask a question? Do I need a follow-up? Do I need to ask a question? That's it. That's the whole practice. If this message helps you, like the video, share it with a friend who needs it, and subscribe for more conversations on confidence, visibility, and thriving in the workplace. And if you're already subscribed, thank you. I truly appreciate you because you matter. You deserve to grow. You deserve to thrive. And I am cheering you on.